Welcome to BET headquarters. I'm Deborah Level. It's 2 p.m., so it's time for a morning staff meeting. Our leader, Bob Johnson, had a dream. A dream of creating a network that would accomplish what hundreds of years of slavery, Jim Crow, and malt liquor couldn't. The destruction of black people!
Joseph!
Is that so hard?
Mistress Level, since BET came into existence, terrible things have happened to black people. Dropout rates, teen pregnancy, unemployment, and incarceration have skyrocketed since our debut 25 years ago. We really believe we're making a difference.
The destruction of black people is not happening fast enough!
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And also, if you would like to support me in any way, make sure you click the links down below or donate at least $1 to my PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo by also clicking the links down below. Now, getting into this video, we will be talking about the rise and fall of the channel BET and also how it has affected and is continually affecting the black community today. BET, which stands for Black Entertainment Television, was launched and founded by Robert L. Johnson in 1980. As a lobbyist, he gained experience with the cable television industry in the late 1970s. And if you guys want to know what the definition of a lobbyist is, it is one who takes part in an organized event to influence legislators. So that is what Mr. Johnson was. He was a lobbyist. Now, originally BET began as airing 2 hours a week with weekly programming that showed music videos and shows that targeted youthful audiences. When they did this, it slowly began gaining traction in not only North America, but also the Caribbean. And here is Robert L. Johnson himself also talking about how BET was started.
It sort of came up with the idea of BET based on, early on there had been a lot of efforts by African Americans to use cable as a way of providing targeted programming. That was one of the promises of cable, that would create more diversity, create hundreds of channels, which it has done. But at that time, it was fairly difficult to create that number of channels because of, one, government relations, two, cost of capital, and three, the limited penetration of cable in urban markets. So cable was pretty much, during its early years, pay TV and retransmission of broadcast signals and also replaying of old broadcast programs or other program that was produced that was not, that didn't have broad mass appeal. So when I decided to start BET, it was really based on the idea that the time was right for a African American oriented program as cable was beginning to make its inroads into urban markets.
And how did you go about starting it?
Well, it was pretty much, again, sort of luck in that I was a lobbyist for the industry, and I happened to meet this young guy who was trying to start a channel aimed at the elderly. And he asked me to escort him up on Capitol Hill to go to a particular committee, a committee on aging it was called, to try to get the endorsement from the congressman, a congressman by the name of Claude Pepper from Florida, who was head of this select committee on aging. And he wanted the congressman to endorse his program idea, figuring it would help him get more support from the cable operators and perhaps even help him raise money. When I looked at his business plan, he had a plan that focused on elderly as a target market. And so I said, gee, can I borrow your business plan? He said, sure. So wherever he had elderly, I just crossed it out and put black.
Then, as BET broadened and began gaining more traction, it began to broaden its focuses to include political and issue-oriented programs, comedy showcases, talk shows, sports, and other things. Some examples of this would be BET News, which was basically a segment focused on black issues that many of the mainstream media platforms were not covering and focusing on. Also, another example will be the segment called Black Men Speak Out. And one of the things that I think was pretty awesome that this program did within BET was cover the news of the 1992 Los Angeles riots, which revolved around the story of Rodney King and the police brutality situation that was going on. Also, some other programs that I thought was interesting that BET showcased was a program called Teen Summit, which focused on issues affecting Black American teenagers in their everyday lives, and also programs called BET Tonight and BET Nightly News.
Stay tuned for Teen Summit.
Teen Summit, man, love some Teen Summit.
We're talking about peer pressure today on Teen Summit.
Young Black America didn't really have a voice.
Don't give in to the pressure of your friends to do something that they can benefit from. Do it for yourself.
Teen Summit was the first time that they felt that when they spoke, they would really be heard.
There was a voice for Black teens on BET, but most programming focused on music videos by Black artists that weren't getting much play on MTV.
BET was an alternative because when you turned on MTV, there's but so many times you're going to watch Beat It and Thriller.
You know, everybody turned on BET. It was kind of like, wow, you know, like you have your own channel that just shows your own culture.
Which also focused on issues affecting the Black American community. Having first been established as a successful media company, BET officially launched as a public corporation in 1991, becoming the first Black-controlled TV company to be listed on the New York Stock Exchange. Now, when did BET go wrong, you might ask? Well, it went wrong when BET's founder, Robert L. Johnson, sold BET to Viacom for approximately $3 billion. Now, understand that he was probably getting older and he probably did not want to be over the BET network anymore, and also the money probably seemed good, you know, becoming a billionaire, that's actually monumental in the Black community. But selling BET to Viacom, which is a network that owned Nickelodeon, MTV, Comedy Central, and VH1, was, in my opinion, not a smart move. And honestly, why are we even still calling BET the Black Entertainment Television when it is now white owned and has been since 2000? As a matter of fact, why even start the channel BET if you were just going to sell it and make it white owned? Why even start it? And why sell it to people who were not Black Americans and did not have the experience of Black Americans? Why sell it to them if you know that they did not have the same experience as us? Therefore, they had the power to portray things that was not the whole community. You know, why do that? I would never understand to this day. God bless Mr. Johnson, but I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that has this question. Soon after this move, BET began to move away from the majority of their positive programming to focus on shows and programs that would portray the Black community, the Black American community, in a bad light and portray negative racist stereotypes of us. And shortly after this move, shows such as Teen Summit and BET News were canceled and were replaced with shows like College Hill and 106 in Park. And after this, one of the most popular aspects of BET became its promotion of hip-hop and hip-hop culture, specifically when they came out with a show entitled Rap City. As soon as BET started showing these things, many other people in the Black community, especially the elderly Black people, Black Americans, became really upset. And they were outraged because they believed that the hip-hop that BET was promoting was not only demeaning to both Black men and Black women, but it was also promoting racist stereotypes to not only the community, but to people outside the community who might watch BET. They believe that by BET promoting these racial stereotypes, BET was actually promoting racism in itself. And the biggest reaction, in my opinion, to this change in what was going on with BET was a protest by the group Enough is Enough outside of Executive Deborah Lee's home in 2007. And here's a clip not only showing the protest outside of her home, but also a recording of the organizer of the protest talking with someone about BET. So here are those clips right now.
We want to talk about the ongoing battle over black entertainment television. Last Saturday, some 500 protesters gathered in front of the Washington, D.C. home of Deborah Lee, the president and COO of Black Entertainment Television. The group of protesters are calling themselves the Enough is Enough campaign, and they say they want BET to clean up its act, saying the programming degrades women and stereotypes African Americans. Members of some secular groups also participated, but the leader of the protest was Reverend Delman Coates, the pastor of Mount Enon Baptist Church in Clinton, Maryland. He joins us now in the studio. Welcome, Reverend. Thanks for speaking with us.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Can you tell us exactly where you started to think that BET was going down the wrong road?
Well, first I want to be clear that this campaign isn't a campaign directed at BET. It's much larger than BET. But for some time, I think millions of other African Americans have been deeply concerned about the kinds of representations of black women and of black men that are projected and celebrated in the popular culture. Portrayals of black men as pimps received an Oscar. You know, It's Hard Out Here for a pimp song.
You're talking about Hustle and Flow,
Hustle and
the
Flow,
film, and
right.
the song from the movie received an Oscar
right.
for Best Song.
Right. And so while
but that had nothing to do with BET.
While these images, again, this campaign is not a campaign.
But you're picketing at Deborah Lee's home, and I'm sure you can understand where
Sure.
someone might think that means you're aiming at BET. That's a very provocative act.
BET presents itself as the premier provider of content for and about African Americans. So certainly they're a major player in this space, but it's certainly much larger than that. There's a larger network. We're beginning with Black Entertainment Television.
When you say enough is enough, the idea of being fed up, I've had it. Is there something that you can point to that said to members of your group, this is the tipping point, this is the point at which I need to go out here and picket in somebody's house?
I think there have been a series of precipitous events that have taken place this year. Recently, Black Entertainment's animation department took the liberty and the initiative to produce the Read a Book video, which for them is a new step, because up to this point, whenever concerns have been voiced about the content on BET, and the videos in particular, their management has always responded by saying, we don't make the videos, we just play what's given to us. Black Entertainment Television took the initiative to produce this particular animated video, which plays during the day, which has every sort of profane word that one can imagine. The images, I think, are completely disgraceful. And when I played it for the members of my church with the profanity and all, they were deeply outraged.
Now, here is what the organizer of the protest by the name of Reverend Delman L. Coates had to say. He said, "Why are these corporations making these images normative and mainstream? I can talk about this in the church until I am blue in the face, but we need to take it outside." This is what he said, and I know it wasn't only him that had this view of BET at the time. Many others did. As I said, a lot of them were, people from the community, but also it was elderly people from the community. And as a result of people in the community speaking out against what was going on, BET, quote unquote, listened to everything he had to say and decided to start censoring rap music that they were promoting and the videos that they were promoting as well. But in my opinion, this was not really listening to them at all, because they were still airing this type of stuff on the station, which at the end of the day was not helping anything at all. Also, in a blog post in 2003, a Black American book writer by the name of Christopher Priest had the following to say about BET. He said, "I am repulsed by the images on BET, and I feel assaulted by the constant onslaught of the F word and barbaric mangling of the English language that is a conditioned response to an urban cultural expression, which is, let's face it, a manufactured product. A largely white-funded and white-profited, self-reinforcing dumbing down of Black America, ingenuously designed to keep us ignorant, barbaric, and poverty-stricken, divided among ourselves, morally and ethically bankrupt." And honestly, he was so right. So many believe and still believe that BET literally selling out to Viacom which is a white-owned company, was the reason that the network BET started airing this type of derogatory music and videos, and also shows that displayed Black Americans in a negative light and negative stereotype. And like the video that I actually posted in the beginning of this YouTube video from the TV show Boondocks, since BET started promoting these types of stuff, a lot of these same stereotypes have been happening and coming true in the Black community today. Now, of course, all of these things definitely do not happen across the board, and I'm not generalizing. I'm not saying that everyone in the Black community is, you know, doing wrong or participating in violence or crime or anything that was portrayed on BET. After it was sold to Viacom. I'm not saying that. I'm not generalizing at all. But we have to admit, what was being portrayed on BET has a hand in everything that's going on today. And it's only a part of why our community is the way that it is today and why it's kind of in shambles. And we can only pray that by coming together as a community and putting in the work, we will be able to reverse everything that's going on, which I definitely think is possible. We just have to be unified. And we not only have to be unified, but we have to put aside our differences and come together on one accord. Now, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for watching. Again, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and also donate $1 if you can to show support to my YouTube. Again, thank you for watching, and I will see you later. Bye.